It's interesting that we have these sets of readings before we celebrate Holy Cross. Holy Cross, obviously, on the 14th of September. But in preparation for that, we have now these Gospels that show us that our humanly power is incapable of now giving us the joy, and again, for theological purposes, we don't use the word happy, all right? Because happy is a feeling and happy is fleeting. So we use the word joy, all right? So joy is a peace that you receive or that you have. Now, within the world, you can only receive so much peace because the world can only give you what is natural. And so this is what we have today, where we have the father who comes and says, here is my son. Now they say epileptic here, all right? And it's interesting because the word that they use is not obviously epileptic, but the word that they use is seliniazete, the moon. So he is affected by the moon. And so we have this in popular culture about, at the full moon, everything bad happens, right? And so it's interesting that they use that term, that very ancient term, to give us an idea, and we translate it modernly as then epilepsy. So we have this situation that he is unable to cure his son. The resources that he has, the natural resources, are incapable of doing that. We have the very same thing today. Some of us are going to get illnesses that have a natural cure, and some of us are going to get illnesses that there is no cure. So nature is bounded by its mortality. And so this is the example that he gives us, and he says to him, in essence, can you do something? An asking. But it's an asking out of desperation. I can do nothing. Maybe you, because I've heard that you're a prophet, maybe you can do something. And the answer is, yes, I will cure your son, but what does he say? Diligi pisti. So your small amount of faith is what is the problem. And that's exactly the same situation that we are today. And you've heard me say this before about the idea that there's only so much that doctors and our own mortal abilities give to us. And we are going to be given things that are beyond what we are earthly and naturally able to handle. This is an example right here. There is no medication for losing a loved one. There's no pill that I can take. Well, in the 70s, yeah, we had a couple of pills. But we're talking about today. Nobody got that joke. Okay. Nobody laughed at that. All right. But even those prove to be dead ends. So the only thing that can grant us peace in situations like this, or when we ourselves suffer through debilitating diseases, is to have faith and trust that it is now the supernatural power of our God who will get us through that. Now, will we all survive if we pray to God? No, not necessarily. And that brings us to the point that we must understand as Orthodox that he is not a maître d'. So many times people do come to me and they say, and to all priests, and they say, Father, please pray for, and of course we pray for them. But the answer is not always healing. And sometimes we are in suffering, and that suffering is not alleviated. But the Holy Fathers have told us that out of suffering comes strength. Not necessarily good, they've said that, but strength, that's what's good that comes out of it, is that it forces us to be more than we can be from being natural and being mortal. And it is through that faith that we can then not get past, but that we can at least endure the sufferings that we will have in this life. And so in that sense, we have to understand the difference between what nature can do for us, doctors, science, technology, and all that, and then what they cannot do and what belongs to God. And please, I'm an engineer for Pete's sake. I'm not saying that we don't use technology. Of course we do, all right? But at the same time, joy is recognizing that there is only so much that mortally I am capable of doing, and the rest then belongs to God.